Welcome to Seize the K. I'm your host, Kay Rodriguez, and I'm here to help you with your next creative venture. Whether it's building a business or creating a new stream of income, I'm here to give you practical tips while we keep Jesus at the center of it all. So, let's carpe diem and get into this episode. Boop! Wow. Okay, hello everyone. I don't know if I'm going to leave it in there out, but you may or may not have seen. Must you breathe so hard in here? I love you, but you got to get out. Okay. Okay, for realsies. Oh, Lord. All right. Wow, it has been a marathon recording these podcasts. These first 10, I am more than halfway through now. And it's just a little bit funny, like what's going wrong, what's going right. So there's that resistance. If you are facing resistance with what you want to do, like you're trying to record and your technology isn't right, you get to the shoot and you forgot an SD card, like whatever that resistance is, I just want you to know, do not give up, do not quit, keep going. Speaking of keeping going, if you're going to be successful on social media, guess what you got to do? You got to keep going. You got to post. And listen, I know it's a lot. That's what I help clients do. I help clients keep up with the demands of social media because it's just so much at this point. Like there's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, everybody, or whatever, X now, but everybody wants you to spend time on their platform. You know, there are now all these different content types per platform. Photos, videos, carousels, reels, shorts, whatever. It's a lot to keep up with, and it's way more demanding than it used to be. There are some bright spots from the perspective of before you couldn't post the same thing on a different page. Like that wasn't best practice. But now you can post that same thing verbatim on every platform. So that's a good thing. Oh, I definitely left out Pinterest, which we do not want to undervalue. Another conversation for another day. So we are talking today about types of social media content that I've noticed that tend to perform well. I've been telling you, if you've been listening, make sure that you have your Instagram page up, make sure that bio is done. Right now, we're not getting fancy. I'm just getting you started because that's the hardest part of it all. It's like just actually doing it, getting started, being consistent, all of that goody gumdrop stuff. So what are the 3 types of content that I've seen that perform well currently? If you are listening to this episode 10 years in the future, just go ahead and throw this whole thing out. This isn't going to be like other episodes where it's evergreen. Social media is always changing. So what works today might not work tomorrow, and it just is what it is. Honestly, there's a part of it that's exhausting, which is why I know you're struggling doing it. Shoot, I struggle with it. But there's another part of it that's exciting, and it really incites creativity, and you can literally just try stuff. Like if you want to try stuff anywhere, social media is a place to do it. Let's get into 3 types of content that I've seen overall perform well, especially if you're being consistent. And even if you're not, honestly, if you're doing this in real, TikTok, short, whatever form. And I'm going to go from hardest to easiest because I want you to leave here empowered. The first type of content that I've seen that performs well is a skit. You see them all the time. People are talking about funny things in relationships. They're talking about experiences with clients. They're talking about what it's like to be a small business owner. They're talking about what it's like to own a dog, or in my case, specifically a husky. What I see it as is you're really telling a story and you're being intentional about the formatting of what that looks like. Speaking of owning a husky, I allowed him to come into the room. He was really antsy. I sent him out. Now he's sitting by the door and wants to come in. Oh well, I love you. Let's keep going. This one is the hardest because it takes the most intention. You're trying to figure out, do you want to have background music or not? How many clips do you need to take? Are you going to need help? I've seen a lot of skits where I'm like, they definitely had someone helping them with the camera, but there are a lot of times people just literally have their phones. I have an example. They literally just have their phones like this and they're just filming it from this angle as well. So don't feel like if you don't have the time or the resources or even the personnel that you have to do this like crazy elaborate thing. But I will tell you that pre-planning will help you to be more successful. So some of the best posts that I've done on client pages have been skits. They just perform well. People want to see something that they can relate to. And the more people that you can relate to, the better. People talk a lot about niching down and really knowing your niche. And you should on social media have a little wiggle room with that. Everyone can't be your target audience all the time, but there will be times when maybe you just reach out to millennials, just period. Or maybe you're reaching out to Gen Z, maybe women, maybe men, whatever, just something that a large group can relate to. On that note, the skits that I've done for clients that have performed well also happen to be trends. Trends can be a trending sound. It can be a trending style of video. It can be trending text. There are many ways that you can break down the trend, but typically the best way that you can get a trend to work for you is one of two ways. Way one is jumping on early. If you can find a sound on Instagram Reels earlier than later, if your content is good, if you've been intentional, which there are best practices for social media, how you can help your content perform better, that's another conversation for another day. If you can see into the future, I'll tell you with trends that it can have a really good turnout. And sometimes people just scroll down just looking at how different people did the same trend. You guys are already thinking of a trend that you got tired of. If I hear that song one more time, some of you guys, it's something else, but whatever that is, jumping on a trend can be really beneficial to your business. People say, oh, you're following the crowd. It's like, yeah, that's where everybody is. Like, where are you going to go? To the pond where there's only one fish? Of course you're going to go over there. But you can make it your own, which is the other way to make a trend be successful. Hypothetically, let's just say 10,000 people have already done the trend. You can take the trend as inspiration and do a little flip on it. For example, that song, they had a trend where it started off like that, and then somebody was kind of like singing it in like a funny way. It's like, you know? Doing this in audio, I know you were like, what the heck? This is what happens when we talk about social. We got to keep it fun, but it's also funny and it's also a little weird. Take a sound and flip it on its side. See if you can make it funny. See if you can change the text up a little bit. See if you can do something unexpected. This is a great way to be creative and to figure out new ways to take a trend and just give it a little bit of oomph, especially if so many people have done it before. It'll keep people interested and you might start a new trend. Use it as a guide. It doesn't have to be verbatim, but verbatim works really well too if you can jump on it early. The last form of content that I see perform well are short form videos. 5-6 seconds, call it a day. There's a saying that they say for businesses that people have to touch your business or see it 6 to 7 times to even really start considering it. When you have a short form video, you're basically getting to that 6 or 7 times faster, especially if you potentially have some trending audio on it or trending text. There's nothing wrong with taking a trend and making it shorter if you can do that, depending on what the trend is. I have seen many times where just putting a couple of clips together performs well. More people are seeing it. They're watching it multiple times more often because it's so short. It like didn't even sink in. So now you have to watch it again. I really recommend these. I know there are some people that are vehemently against short videos. I've seen creators say, I don't want to do short videos. I want to post what I want. Please do. I would literally encourage you to post whatever you want. You have no idea how something that you post can impact your community or those around you. And especially if God is telling you to post something, go ahead and do that. The reason why I'm ending with short videos, which I feel is really important too, is that it reduces the amount of excuses that you have not to post. You can literally take a video of you doing anything for 3 to 5 seconds. It can be brushing your teeth, clipping your toenails, waking out of bed, cleaning your room. Maybe it's multiple clips of you cleaning your room or cleaning your kitchen. People love cleaning videos. Maybe you're pouring your morning coffee. Whatever that is, just your day-to-day life, pull your camera out while you're doing something you would always do and just take 5 seconds. You don't even have to be in it. It could be a wonderful scenery. It could be anything. I just do not want you to limit yourself. This is the easiest one to take a short-term video, put some trending text on it, or maybe you're like, here's how you're going to do better in 2024. The word here can do a lot for your videos. Like there's something that's grounding about the word here that's like, oh, this is where I'm going to learn information. This is someone I'm going to learn from. Let me just go ahead and read this caption or tap into that. I know that social media is a lot, but you can do so much in a day. Think about how much you do. You walk your dog, you're working on your computer, you're watching TV, you're watering your plants, things that you like to do. In my questionnaires that I send people, I have some questions that are like, hey, what do you like to do every day? And people are like, what does that have to do with my brand? This is what it has to do with your brand. What do you like to do so you can film yourself doing it so you can use it for content? People think that's a silly question, but it's not. I'm very intentional about that because when you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go golfing today, I'm like, cool, put your camera on the floor and videotape yourself golfing. Because you never know when you're going to need that content other than your day-to-day. You might want to do a review of the year and you didn't take any content. You don't have any clips of you doing what you love to do. So just make sure you get some. I'm not saying you have to have your camera out all the time. If you're a content creator, hey boo-boo, we have our cameras out all the time. Everything is content, everything. I take content of me behind. My B-roll content is putting my other phone out, my other camera out, and getting content of me from the back. So now that's a 5-second video. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just do not want you guys to make excuses. Sure, skits are hard. Maybe you don't love the trend, but you can put up a 5-second video with whatever audio you want and whatever text and tell people more about you, your venture, what you're doing, okay? Okay, so that's your homework for today. And honestly, it's my homework. Yikes. If you are listening wherever you listen to podcasts, I'm going to put in the description an example of each of these. They'll be my videos. Anyways, they'll be my videos just so you can have a small idea of what I'm talking about. I might put some client videos in there as well so that you can get an idea. And these will probably cross over. Your skit might be a trend. Your trend might be a short-term video. These don't have to be individual. Like if you do a skit, you don't have to say, oh, okay, well, this isn't trending. Like use a trending audio. You don't even necessarily need to talk in this. You're going to see an example of a Wes Anderson style video that we did. That video, to me, it's under skit. You're writing a story, you're telling a story, whether you're talking or not, through a series of videos. So all that to say, that is your homework today. You don't have to do a skit. You don't have to do a trend, but I do want you to try to do a 5-second video if you're doing anything. Do not overthink it. If you're driving, okay, hold on. If you're in your car, film yourself in your car. Do not overthink this. Take 5 seconds, put something that's been on your mind about your business, something that God is telling you to do. Rip off that Band-Aid so you're not like, what do I do and how do I post? Now, if you're legitimately like, I don't actually know how to post, that's another conversation for another day. Social media is a beast. There are a lot of things to consider, but right now, I just want you to consider that 5-second video. And if you don't want to do that, that's okay. Post a picture. Post a picture of your product today. It doesn't have to be the best picture ever. Just get something up because we're gonna start telling people about what we're doing. And this is a challenge for me. My coach had to challenge me on my podcast. She's like, who are we going to tell about your podcast? Who are we going to have be your support squad and help you share? I'm like, oh, Lord, my sister, she is a food blogger, Cincinnati food blogger. What's up, Kate's Cravings? She's like, how are you going to talk about your podcast on social media? I'm like, oh my goodness. So you have to do it. You have to tell people, especially if this is something that God is telling you to do. I do not want you like, hey, I have my light, but I'm putting it under a bushel because I don't want to share it with people, right? We want to let our lights shine. We want to let our venture shine. And you can do that on social. So that's your work. Let's talk about what I'm drinking. Can anybody guess? It's water. I really want you guys to value water as much as you value caffeine. And when I say you, I mean me. I want to value water as much as I value caffeine, but it is just so boring to me. I talked to you guys about it before. So I put some essential oils in here. I put lemon and vanilla because I'm just not gonna, I don't want to drink plain water, you guys. I don't want to drink plain water. And we're going to talk about more about good water habits because I just feel like as an entrepreneur, you need to be drinking water. It just is what it is. I just feel like you need to be drinking water I just had to sip myself, and I do feel refreshed. Thank God. What did the Lord say? He's a living water. Amen. Okay. All right, you guys, make sure you're drinking your water. Spice it up if you have to. And I will talk to you soon. Make sure you get that post out. Okay. Get that post out. Just one. Let's just start with one. Okay. All right. Cheers, friends. Thank you for tuning in to Seize the K. I want to connect with you outside of this podcast. In the description, you'll see all the ways that we can connect and keep the conversation going. If you liked it, please subscribe. Until next time, cheers.